Hello, my name is Jiyoung Shin. I work in KEI KACCC. I think this mic is very sensitive. Before start, I want to talk about my English first, because in my thought, if I speak in Korean, the lecture will be much better. But as you know, I am Korean and I have never been in US or England, so my English is not that much good. So if you have any question that you cannot understand my lecture, please raise your hand and ask me anytime. Okay, let me start. Okay, before I start, I want to show you this picture, lovely picture. It's a Korean adaptation communication. We submit this at 2023, I think. Is it right, Drew? 2003 to UNFCCC. And it has, in this AC, it has all about Korea's experience on 15 years of adaptation policy. So if you have any chance to log in to UNFCCC, you can see what is happening in Korea about climate change adaptation. And today's my lecture is about the Korean NAP adaptation planning and monitoring system. So one day, climate resilience keyword came to us, and we started to think about what is resilience and what is the difference from adaptation. And finally, I think that to be a resilient society, we have to be a successful adaptive human. So now, this is me. So it is quite different from the previous picture and the previous me. And it was 3 years, I think it was 3 or 4 years before. And it has, you can see on the slide that what I am interested in. And to be an adaptive human, I do the research about how to make NAP planning work better and how to make the NAP planning system working with the citizen and other stakeholders better, something like that. And now I am focusing on how to make NAP real thing with the adaptation indicators. So this is our journey in Korea that we have for NAP system. 2008, December, we had a national comprehensive plan. And after that, 2010, we made first NAP for 5 years. And then after 5 years, we made second NAP. Where is it? Yeah, second NAP. And in this revised first plan we had a new scenario from IPCC. It was our ICP scenario. And then after 5 years, we had a third National Adaptation Plan, and now we have an enhanced third NAP. With the enhanced third NAP, there was a big change about IPCC scenario also. So you can see our journey to NAP system, and you can see the smiling face here. So guess what it is? You can guess? So look it carefully. First NAP and second NAP, and with the between the first NAP, we have a South National First Plan, something like that. And you can see in the first point there, it began all the national and sub-national and local plans. So what is the meaning of this smiling faces? So if you have to do something, you can do it by yourself. But if you don't want to do that, but you have to force that you have to do it. So this is some kind of forcing system. So we made our law. So this is about the low carbon law. And this is, after 10 years, we changed the law in net zero system. So this is the smiling face is about our law system. So in our 15 years journey, adaptation, the meaning of adaptation has some kind of changes. So first one, we think climate change as mitigation and adaptation separately. So in the adaptation, there was loss and damage. And then time goes, and then mitigation and adaptation, we thought that there was some kind of combining system and loss and damage. So that is this one. And then I think this is our stage now. We think adaptation as in part of SDGs before Ms. Lee talked about. And we think adaptation linked with disaster risk reduction and human mobility and human rights and something, all the things about adaptation is linked with all the society system. So that is, now we are in the stage, and that is why adaptation is sometimes simple, sometimes not simple, sometimes easy, and sometimes not easy. So I think you guys all have experience about adaptation. Like if you talk with governors, they think like we are already doing adaptation in disaster risk assessment. And we are already doing it. But if you see all the things, it is not real adaptation. So this is why we have to think about what adaptation is. And adaptation is like adaptation is closely linked to National Adaptation Plan, because National Adaptation Plan gives some kind of keywords with adaptation. So first time, I want to show this line to you. So in the beginning, when adaptation and climate change came, we just focused on what is adaptation. We focused on this concept. And then 2 or 3 years later or 5 years later, we focus on how to make it adaptation as a plan. And then next stage is how to make it act. And then now we are thinking about monitoring and evaluation. And now in Korea, we are thinking about how to measure the progress of adaptation right now. So I think every country has the different stages. So think about what stage your country is in. So adaptation framework. I will show you the framework of Korea adaptation system. First, as I told you on the previous slide, it was a smiling face, and I told you that is about legal framework. So we had a framework 1, and now we are in other framework. So the first time framework was Framework Act on Low Carbon and Green Growth. So the keyword is low carbon, and so in low carbon framework, we had only one article about adaptation. It is about government should make National Adaptation Plan. That was one sentence with the one article. So with the one article, Korea begin to start with adaptation system, make adaptation system. So based on this Low Carbon Act, we make first NAP and then second NAP, and we make our local governments started to make their own adaptation plan, and that was our beginning. And after 10 years later, in 2022 March, we changed the framework in carbon neutrality as a net zero. And in this net zero, and after the Low Carbon Act, there was some kind of progress that people start to think about adaptation is very important. So there was in this Net Zero Act, we had 10 articles in it. So about adaptation, this is our framework. And we have general provision, and Chapter 6 has climate adaptation policy measures. And with the 10 articles, we have adaptation policy measures. So Article 40 has monitoring and forecasting of climate change. So the word climate crisis is the same word as a climate change. And Article 41, we have how to formulate and implement the National Adaptation Plan. And with the Article 42, we should monitor the National Adaptation Plan. And Article 43, there is a regional adaptation. Local governments has to make their own regional adaptation plan. And with the Article 44, we also have public institutions to make their adaptation measures. And adaptation 45, and we have implementation response projects about adaptation and supporting. And with 47, we have an article with the designation and evaluation of our KEI. So if you have any, if you want to see the details, you can just log in to this website and you can see our law in here. It is in English, so you can see it. So, and then we have a planning system. It is by law. We have 20-year national framework plan about climate change response, and it is a mid and long-term plan, so we revise it every 5 years. And then under that, we have National Adaptation Plan. So we make National Adaptation Plan every 5 years, and it has been 3 times we have made it. And under that National Adaptation Plan, we have Annual Action Plan also. And then every year, we inspect the implementation progress of National Adaptation Plan. And then this side is about Local Adaptation Plan. So we have 17 시도, which is called some kind of provincial level. And then under that 시도, we have 226 시군구. It is a basic local government part. So every 17 provincial level government and every 226 local government make their own local adaptation plan. So this is our Korea's adaptation planning system, and every local government also they check how they implement well of their adaptation plan. And we also have monitoring and evaluation system, and it is by law. We have to plan, and then after the plan, we have to implement it, and we have to monitor and we do the self-evaluation, and then feedback system. It is by law, as I already told you that it is all by law, and after this system, Minister of Environment check and review it and give us some kind of feedback to local government and also to the NAP. So let me talk about our National Adaptation Plan. So I already told you that we have a legal basis. It's a Framework Act on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth for Coping with Climate Crisis. So we made this law in 2022, and there was some kind of, in my case, some kind of conflict, like, should we use the climate change or climate crisis? But anyway, finally they used climate crisis. And we think this is a very important point, that by law we use the climate crisis, and that means climate change is very severe and we have to focus something to climate change. So we put the climate crisis in every sentences in our law. It is quite weird, but it has some kind of effect to the normal people that, oh, climate change is very important. We have to think about something. So that kind of message go to the peoples. But in my case, as a researcher, climate crisis is some kind of weird, but anyway, it worked. So as National Adaptation Plan, in the law, we have some kind of contents, like as you can see in the slides. We should put all the contents, but as to say it frankly, it is not all the things are in it. Well, we have some kind of sectoral plans and sectoral things in our NAP, but we don't have a regional measures, not yet, but soon, I think soon, maybe not in fourth this year, maybe 5 years later, we can put the regional things in the NAP. So this is our third NAP, and I think someone can read this Korean. Okay, it's third, 제3차. 국가 means national, 기후변화 means climate change. In this moment, we didn't change the law yet, so we put the climate change in it, and then we have, this is 적응대책 means the National Adaptation Plan. So after this, in the fourth NAP that I am working on, the name will change into National Climate Crisis Adaptation Plan. So planning process of NAP, I think many of the countries has the same process like Korea. First, we do risk assessment. In first NAP, we didn't have this stage of risk assessment because it was 2010, and it was the climate change adaptation concept was based on the vulnerability. So we did in the NAP, we didn't do the vulnerability assessment. But after 2000, I think it was 2014, the IPCC fifth report, they delivered the concept of risk assessment, and then we just take it in second NAP in Korea. So first we do risk assessment. So the result of risk assessment is some kind of list of risk. And then after risk assessment, we just review what we have done for 5 years. Are we done well, or we have to do something more, or this was not enough, something like that. We do this process with the experts and some of citizens and some of stakeholders in the third NAP. And after that, we make a draft. And in the stage of making the draft of NAP, we closely work with the panels and experts with each sectors, and we also work with the minister of each sectors in charge. And after that, we made a consultation with the citizen and stakeholders, and after that, we make this third NAP. Is this process similar to your country? Yes, yes, or not? So please, I don't want to ask you all about it, so please, yes or not. You can just shake your head. Yes, okay, fine. So that means I think all of you have a same experience and similar experiences with the problems in making NAPs, right? Okay. So this is our example of our risk list in Korea. So we have 8 sectors. We divide this risk as 8 sectors, and In third NAP, we had 93 risks. Of course, we have a long list of each sector, but we have to choose what we have to focus on in 5 years for NAP. So we had a screening stage, and we identified the risk list with the experts, and we selected the 93 risks, and then make this third NAP. So we have visions and goals, and we have main policies with 233 measures, and we have key strategies. And I want to share this content with you. So first we have introduction, and the second is we just review what was the good thing and bad things in second NAP. So what was the achievements and what was the limitations? And after that, we just review about where are we now? So the conditions of making this NAP situation. And then we set the directions, and under these directions, we made the policy 1, 2, 3. And then what is the interesting thing is this one. So when we made third NAP, our government has a keyword about citizens. So working with citizens and do things with citizens, all the things. So we try to make this third NAP as a citizen-friendly planning. So, but anyway, adaptation was still, and now still, very not easy to understand the meaning, real meaning. So we just pick it out. What is the measures that closely link with the citizens, that citizens can feel, oh, okay, this is kind of a adaptation policy. So we put this part. And then another one that I think the third NAP has some kind of thing is we put the key indicators and budget. In this moment, everyone was thinking about, is the NAP system really works? It is worthy, because everyone can make a plan, good plan. But the more important thing is we have to make that plan work, and we have to check it is working or not. So we put the indicators in it. And then one thing was, everyone was thinking about, okay, adaptation is all around. We are doing adaptation also. We are doing adaptation also. Every ministry say that we are doing adaptation. But then we ask them how much money you spend for adaptation. They cannot submit it. So that is why we put the budgets in National Adaptation Plan. Okay. Okay. Policy 1 is strengthen adaptation. Nope.
Why we are calling it policy? Is it some national policy or something?
Oh, okay. So policy means the policy direction. It's some kind of strategy. Yeah.
Just a point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in the policy direction, we put policy direction here, and then we put what is the background of this policy directions, and we put the risk list that we have to focus on for 5 years. And there was I already told you that we had a long list of risks, but we have to focus on what risk that we have to focus on for 5 years. So that is why we put the risk list. And what is interesting is we have this is one of our measure about adaptation in NAP. So we put the measures, and then we put the risk numbers beside that we are doing this to reduce this risk. So this is, someone can think like, so what? But it has some meanings that you have to know that you're doing this because you have to reduce this risk. So it has meanings, and maybe to citizens, they don't know about this meaning, but every governor knows about why they are doing this thing to reduce this risk. So I want to say that the contents and the frames that you have in NAP, it is very important to give the message to the governors and give the message to the citizens. So you have to design this in the first stage of it. And if you design the NAP very properly, you can make your BTR better. Right, Ju? So I am sure that I was in charge of making second and third NAP, and Ju is in charge of making BTR for Korea. So I'm sure that our NAP frame is very nice, quite nice. So that is why Ju can make her BTR better, right? So this is our key indicators that I already told you. In this, when making the third NAP, we tried to put the indicators about outcome indicators. So we asked the administrations that what kind of outcome indicators do you have, and please give it to us, then we can combine it and we can put into NAP. But they submit the indicators, and it was not outcome indicators. We can only have input and output indicators. But we think that this is the starting point, so let's put it into our NAP system. So this is about, this one is the input indicators and output indicators in 5 years. So, and then we also put the public-oriented indicators. What this mean that I already told you that in this third NAP, we had a keyword about citizen-friendly. So we want to share and feel citizens that adaptation is around them. So we picked the indicators which can be public-friendly indicators, and we put the 16 indicators in it. And after the 5-year NAP, making 5-year NAP, we made an action plan for each year to implement the National Adaptation Plan, and we have contents, and we put the budgets for 5 years also. And for each measures, we have this kind of project card for each measures. And each project card contains the title of the project and who is implementing in ministry and how the period, how long they were gonna do this project. And the basic things about the information, who is in charge. You can see the Korean letters, and this is a person who is in charge. And it is quite important that if their names, just put it in this card, they feel more responsibility. So we try to put this, and also they have emails and they have contact numbers. And we put all the detailed things about this measure, and also we put the budget, how many money they are going to spend in 5 years, and we also put the performance indicators and targets. And in the third NAP, we put the monitoring and evaluation system. We start our M&E framework in second NAP first, but in second NAP it was not that much detail. So in the second NAP we didn't put our monitoring and evaluation system in the NAP, but in the third NAP, after the 5-year experience, we put the monitoring and evaluation system in the third NAP. So if we make the third NAP, and then we make action plans, and then in the third NAP, there is a reviewing and monitoring system. So it was combined. I will tell it detail in the later. So in the first step, we didn't have any monitoring and evaluation system because in that stage, we just focused on making the National Adaptation Plan. So we didn't think about monitoring and evaluation. We just focused on how to make it better and how to frame it. And after 5 years with the first NAP, we think about, okay, adaptation is not a adaptation is a very long run plan. So we have to check. We should check what is going on in the National Adaptation Plan. So we decide to start M&E framework in second NAP. So in second NAP, there was no sign about monitoring and evaluation, but we just try to think how can make it better. So in second NAP, we had 341 tasks, and we checked all the 341 tasks is working or not with some kind of content. And we also, it was not easy to check every year the 341 task is working well or not, because we didn't directly deal with every project. So we have to ask the ministry that who is in charge is doing well or not. So it take maybe I think it was 3 months to collect all the data. And then after that, we should calculate they are doing well or not. And it took like more than 6 months. So we think that it was not that much good. So we just select the core task from the 341 tasks. So this is 100 task is very important task. So even if we cannot check all the 341 tasks, we should check this 100 in core task. And then we had a 5-year experience of monitoring and evaluation. So we can put the monitoring and evaluation framework on third NAP. So in third NAP, we have 2 frameworks, which one is self-assessment. So every ministry do their self-inspections of in their charge, and after that, Ministry of Environment, they submit that data to Ministry of Environment, and when Ministry of Environment gathered all the data, they have reviewed the experts about that data, and they made a review report. And with the review report, with the best practice, we make a report of progress of annual NAP. So about the best practice, why we do this was some kind of education. So in that moment, I think we are in, people doesn't know about what is best practice. And even if they are governors, and even if they are in charge of some kind of project, they don't know they're doing this is adaptation or not. So we want to educate the governors and educate the citizens. This is kind of an example of good practice of adaptation. So now we are having some kind of contest of what is best practice, and then we just give money for the prize sometimes. So after that, this is an example of our annual monitoring and evaluation inspections. Indicators are efforts for implementation. The index is about budget that they spend. And the second indicators are achievement goals about efforts. They plan how much they are going to do for the 5 years. And if they achieve their goals, it calculates as excellent. And then we synthesize this result with a framework matrix, and then make this as a report of annual implementation, how they implement this, all the projects. So we use this kind of Excel sheet now, and I hope this is I already told you that this process takes more than 6 months every year. So we try to make this as a web-based system, I hope. And then this is some kind of example of our results. And I would like to introduce our citizen panels. So I already told you that we had a keyword about citizen-friendly. So we try to educate, and we want to know all the people that know about what is adaptation. So we start this citizen panel as a monitoring and evaluation system. So purpose of this citizen panel is to enhance people's understanding of adaptation policy and strengthen participation of NAP. And we run this citizen panel for 8 to 10 months. So first we recruit and select the 50 citizens over 19 years, which means adults. And for like 6 months, we train and we have discussions about what is adaptation and what is all the ministries are doing in each sector, something like that. So, and then we also do the on-site inspection. We go to the field trip and want to know the people that, oh, this is what governments are doing, and this is kind of adaptation. And then after that, we started to review the progress of implementation. And then the citizen panel's role is pick the best practices of the adaptation projects. So if they pick the best practices, we release to the public that this is kind of a good practice, a good example of adaptation planning and adaptation projects. And this really works because after these 5 citizens come from the side that they are interested, they have interested in climate change things. And even if they have interest in climate change, they didn't much know about adaptation is. So after we educate for like 3 or 4 months about education, their awareness about education goes very up, and they try to share their knowledge with their friends or their families. So it really works. So if you have any plans to work with the citizens, you can just follow this kind of process. And lessons from adaptation phase 1, that means, well, planning is the promise of actions to reach the future and what people in society want. So in every NAPS, in first, second, and third NAPS, we put what we want, that people want to know about adaptation. And also it was some kind of promise that we are going to do this in 5 years and make our city or make our society better. And this is the process that we have had a long journey about adaptation plan. So I like this slide, and I think already someone saw this slide last year. Anyway, do you know BTS? Okay, me and my daughter is a huge fan of BTS, and I'm one of the ARMY. Anyway, one day I was thinking about how to make this lecture better and lecture well. Well, actually, I think this in last year in Thailand. So I think that it has very similar process about success, and I can see that success in their BTS journey. So first, it says burn the stage. That means we have to make awareness and we have to make people know about what is adaptation. And the second is bring the stage, bring the soul. That means first time you have to deliver what is adaptation. And the second is you have to put some kind of messages in your National Adaptation Plan. And the third thing is break the silence. What means many people think in this stage, many people can think that adaptation is everywhere, and we are doing adaptation very well. And as you don't know, but I am doing adaptation before in the long time ago. You can hear all the things about adaptation. But in this break the silence means adaptation is not the same thing as you are doing it before. Of course, it has some kind of similarity that you already have done, but it really has some kind of differences. And then now we are in this stage, and I hope you should compare with what stage your NAPs are in. I think in Korea is in this stage. We didn't break the silence yet, unfortunately. And during this 15 years of NAP experience, we are thinking about what is still we have to do more, and what is that we have done better, and what is something that we have to do more. So this is Jungkook. It has I am still, and our Korea's NAP is still needs something. And then after the army, they're serving army, they came back. So now we are back. So in Korea, in this year, we are making fourth NAP, and we are thinking like, okay, we are back. Now we are thinking about what to give the message to the people in fourth NAP. We don't have answers yet, unfortunately, but we're gonna find it in 2 or 3 months. Anyway, so this is, I think this flow is very similar to everywhere in our life, and even if we are making in NAPs, we have to think about, okay, deliver, and then we have to bring it to the stage, and then what is the wrong thing and what is the best thing that we have done, something like that. And some countries have the same stage as Korea, or some countries are going to make their NAPs in 1 or 2 years in later. You have to think about what to bring in NAP to your society. So in this stage, I want to introduce my little monkey friend. So my monkey friend is 25 centimeters tall and 500 grams, very little monkey. And I hope you go back to your country and have this wonderful graphic book to read. So this monkey is tamarin monkey. I think someone has this monkey in your country. Yes or no? Anyway, Korea doesn't have this friend right now. So my friend someday woke up in the morning and he is very sensitive. I don't know he or she, anyway, I'm gonna tell him he. He's very sensitive. So it was a same day, but he feels like something is different. He didn't know what it was different. Anyway, he feels like, okay, today is some kind of difference. So he just looked out the window and he feels that, okay, there was a rain and it is wet. So he tried to put his rubber boots to go out. And when he go out, he wants to, you can see him here, he wants to share this feeling with other ones, like, hello, I want to ask you something about this. You can see it here. But no one was answering. And the, how do I say this? Water level, yeah, going up, and he still feels that something is wrong and something is happening around him, but nobody knows that. But this, my friend, tried to take the pictures up to the water level, and that means it is very similar to us. Like nobody is caring about what is happening in the world about adaptation and climate impact. Well, actually, they care about impact, but they don't do anything. And sometimes they are very proactive. So for the giraffes, it was nothing because they are tall. They have adaptive capacity. But for my friend, it is a very severe thing to handle with this water level. Yep. And some of friends, they feel very severe things with the climate impact also. So in this stage, we think that why people doesn't really focus or care about climate change. But in the real world, they are caring about climate change. This is a result of our citizens' thoughts, that we asked the citizens that what is the main environment issue in Korea? So the climate change, 2021, climate change is like 4th or 5th. But after 2023, climate change was the most important main issue in environmental things. So what we have in 2 years, we have a heat wave, and we also had a flooding, and we had some kind of various impacts of climate change. So I think that is why people think climate change is the most important things in environmental issue. And then we also asked people that, how do you think the climate change severity? And most of the people answered that it is very severe and very, very severe. And also we asked the people that, does the climate change really affects to or relates to your daily lives? And they said yes, and most of the people, you can see in here that yes, even if in 2022 and 2023, they said, okay, climate change really impacts and really relates to my daily lives. And then we also asked them, how concerned are you about climate change? And most of the people, and 84% answered that, okay. Climate change is, I am very concerned about climate change. And then we also asked them, do you feel climate change? And they said 96% answered that yes, I am feeling about climate change. And then how serious do you think climate change is? And 97%, that means most of the people think that climate change is very serious. And then what is important is this part here. So we ask people that, does climate change affect your society or more affects to you? And people ask that climate change affects more than myself. It really affects the society. And then this kind of means that climate change is the most important issue, but climate change effect to my life is not that much. So we also ask people, what is the most affected targets from climate change? And I'm very proud that I'm the only one can read this Korean. So guess. So the first one was ecosystem, like plants and animals. People think they are the most affected targets from climate change. And the second was future generations. And the third was the peoples who lives in low-income countries. And the fourth was our nation country peoples. And the sixth was my neighbors. And the fifth, 7th is my family. And the 8th is me, myself. So this means climate change is happening, but it is severe, I know that, but maybe it is none of my business. And the last one, guess what? The nation people who lives in the, how do I say Jew? In 고소득 국가. 고소득 국가. Rich, high income country. So, what do you think about this? So, why I am showing this is you have to know what your citizens are thinking about climate and climate change impact. So maybe this slide is the best slide that how people are thinking about climate change impact. So they are playing golf, and there is a very huge wildfire, and this golfers doesn't care about that wildfire because they know this wildfire will not come to them because there is a very huge creek here. So maybe this is what we are thinking about climate change and our cities are thinking about, and also yourself. So then we have to know what is our situation. And the step 2, we have to know this situation. And then after that, we have to set directions and plan. So awareness is first. And step 2 is set directions. And now all the animals and all the friends of my friend feels that, okay, this is really matters and we have to do something. We are tired of this flooding things, now they are thinking about like this. And I think this is the same situation now in Korea. We just start to be in this kind of situation because last year and this year we have a so severe heat wave, and with the heat wave we have also had the heavy rains also, and we had a very huge wildfire this year. So now people are thinking about, okay, climate change it really matters and we have to do something. So this is our stage, I think, now. But still, there are so many reasons not to think about climate change impact. Like, climate change is invisible and it goes to long term, and it has so many uncertainty, and we don't want to take risk. And GHG gas is not the enemy. And it's from my company, and GHG gas is from our company, or GHG gas is from me, something like that. So it is not an enemy to fight with. And I didn't mean to do that. Who is the fault of this? Because we all want to live better life. So that is why we run the every factory. So it is not our fault. And sometimes we can think like, okay, what we have done before was all the wrong things. We have to change our lives, something like that. And maybe some can think like we are not safe anymore, and climate change is a thing that first we have to pay, and I don't know when, but someday we will get something, rewards. So these things about climate change means that there's so many things that not to act and not to do anything. But we have to do something. So we have to, now we are in the stage of choosing that crisis, okay, in Korean. So we have to choose that, are we going to adapt in some kind of way, or we just look this what is happening and we are going and leave this in the risk. So now it is time to decide something. So in the first time, only my friend was in this part to do something, pull it up. So, but everyone knew that we have to do something, but they don't know what to do. So someone has to lead them in the right way. So NAP can be some kind of solution of that thing. So after that, it has to be solved by everyone. Everyone had to work together, and everyone knows it. So it is, I think it is a thing of timing. But if everyone knows that we have to do something, it can be too late. So you here in this classroom, we have to lead people with a NAP planning system and National Adaptation Plan and do something. So that was our Korea's NAP phase 1. So what we want to do in phase 2 is something like this. So for the experience about 15 years, we finally find out this is the same way as a way to success. So climate change adaptation is ongoing process. We have to think it is ongoing and very long, for the very long time. So it has to take time, needs rewards. So we have to convince the people that first pay and get the rewards back later. And we have to take risk, something like that. But still, we have to do is something aware that where we are, and then based on this awareness, we have to set direction and plans, and then we have to try with a do again with a trial and error. So I think all the countries are in this stage, as same as in Korea. So if you want to make your NAPs and make adaptation really works, I think our KEI think that we need some kind of different way to talk with people. So you can see this kind of graphs and this kind of tables in IPCC report. For me, to say it frankly, it's very difficult. Yeah. So when I first saw this graph in 2021 in IPCC's 6th report, I just tried to explain and try to see what they want to say, and it took very long time, and I had to ask my colleague what this is mean. But to people, we cannot use this kind of information to make people act. So we change our strategy like this, and I can show you this video.
중복이라고 그런 게 많이 있었는데
So the Hanya is a woman diver. So in this Jeju area, there are many Hanyas, and then these ladies, they don't really have any oxygen facility or whatever. They just go into the water and then they harvest the expensive shell like abalone. That's what they do. And then especially the Jeju Hanya's life is very special, that the Jeju's ocean is very dangerous ocean. So there are many men, they go out for fishing, and then we face much of their death. That's why there are so many women left in Jeju Island. So they have to learn how to dive into the water, and then they actually raise their kids and family with their own. So she was telling us that what she just said, that there was some seaweed. There used to be many seaweeds in the sea.
We make this video that we want our people to know about climate change really impacts to your life and really impacts to your friends. So we interviewed this Hanya and asked them what is happening and what has been different came before that you were 3 or 6, 20 or 10 years ago. So they are interviewing you now. So you will translate it, what they are saying. So.
그런 게 이제는 거의 없어요.
There is no more seaweed, such as seaweed. So the sea is not same as before. It's totally different. So we are asking whether she feels it gets warmer, the temperature, water temperature get warmer.
도구를 가지고 작업을 하잖아요. 그러면 물속에 들어가가지고 그 도구를 가지고 걸려야 되잖아요. 돌을 쓰지 말라고. 그러면 그 돌이 같이 일어나. 그 돌이 다 차가가지고 그래서 방패 같은.
So she was saying that there is some equipment, she are using it, and then whenever she dive into the water, she put this equipment on the top of the stone. And then she said when she just put the equipment on the top of the stone just break it down, because the stone itself also was affected.
거나 뭐 중복 같은 거나 이런 중복이라는 거는 이렇게 멍처럼 이렇게 키가 좀 자라는 그런 해초를 말하는 거예요. 그런 게 그런 거.
And then she said there even the different type of seaweeds was heavily affected. And then she was saying about the seaweed called dumbuk, which is like very tall seaweed. And then this type of seaweed cannot be grown in the sea anymore.
선초를 이렇게 뜯어보면 선초하고 같이 그 돌이 그 쪼개져 가지고 사가가지고 그게 같이 이 자그마한 돌들이 같이 따라 올라와요. 그런 것이 이 그 돌 표면이 사갔기 때문에 그러지 않나 그렇게 생각을 해요. 저희들은.
She's talking about another seaweed, and then when she take out such a seaweed, it's called chancho, and then the stone itself was it was already broken, so the stone also followed to this seaweed too. So she thought that the face of stone was already like dissolving.
30대 초창기까지는 몸이 이 앞에 해녀들이 캐낼 만큼 있었어요. 그런데 지금은 찾아보려고 해도 하나가 없어요.
So she is talking about another seaweed called mom. This is very the famous seaweed in Jeju Island. So when she was at 30s in her life, there was so many the seaweed in this sea, and then she said she cannot find this seaweed anymore in this sea. It was 30 years ago.
So this Hanya is very unique women that work in Jeju Island. So many people can share what is happening in Jeju and also what they are experiencing about climate change. And Hanya doesn't know that climate change, it is, maybe they know about this is because climate change, but not only from the climate change, it is from the development, something like that. But anyway, people can think that, oh, climate change can impact this kind of things, and it can impact our lives. And another way that you can share or you can deliver what is adaptation is, one example is climate change adaptation illustration contest. Well, we designed this because we want people know about what is adaptation, and we want people to think about adaptation not in a bad way. We want to convince people that adaptation also has positive ways, and we want people to share or have conversation with their child. That is why we designed this contest. And 2022, there was 535 submissions. And after 2023, it was 548. And this year, guess what? How many people involved this contest? More than 10,000. So Ministry of Environment is very happy. But for us, we are not that much happy because we have lots of work to do. Anyway, it really works, and it really works with the child and child's parents. They want to have prize, and they also want to share what is climate change, and they want to talk about climate change with their child, because in our daily lives, we cannot say climate change very normally. Like, every day we talk about what is the menu that you like? What do you want to eat for this lunch? It's very normal conversation, right? But we cannot say like, do you think this climate change is very severe? So something like that. It's not that normal. So we want to make people to talk about climate change in their normal and daily lives with their children. So it is one very good way to talk about. And this is Adaptation Academy. So we want to educate people, and we want people know more about adaptation. So with this Adaptation Academy this year is 4th Adaptation Academy, and people are growing. People number are growing. So this year we have 180 people who wants to know about climate change adaptation deeply. So now we took 8 classes for 6 months, and we educate them, and we ask them after the classes that is this Adaptation Academy really worth to know about and understand about adaptation things, and they said yes, it really is. So it is one good way to talk with every citizen. And there are so many various ways that you can talk with your people in your country. And this is one of the interesting example how to deliver your mayor's interest in about climate change adaptation. We made this joint declaration of climate change adaptation actions, and we tried to make local mayors to focus on and know about climate change adaptation, because many mayors tell them, I have many experiences and I know about climate change very well, but real thing is they don't know much about climate change adaptation. They only know about climate mitigation side. So we want them to educate. But as you know, mayors don't come, and they don't really have that much time to have study about adaptation. So we just try to make them shining and make them something they are doing. So we make this joint declaration on climate change adaptation actions, and you can see in the pictures here. So we didn't mean that they just hold their hands together, but they do this by their own in this thing. So in this, it was held on 2023 with the Adaptation Week. So we asked them to come, and if you want to read this paper, and they really happy to read this paper because it can be shining. So after this, in this thing, so many people came to this declaration, and many people think that they are doing some kind of things about adaptation action. So all of the 226 mayors signed about they are going to do something in climate change adaptation. So if you want to make awareness about mayors about climate change adaptation, you can use these kinds of things also. And one of the last thing is the way that we are going to phase 1 adaptation, phase 2, we have to accept the knowledge gaps. That this is a score from the citizen panel and expert panels with the same project that we scored the implementation about adaptation plans, and then we asked people it was good or it is effective, or do you think this goal has been achieved or something like that. And we just divide the scores with the experts and the citizen panels, and the experts give the more higher scores than the citizens. and that means maybe our projects and our adaptation things are not really working to and closely going to the peoples. And we have to accept this kind of knowledge gaps and try to make all the projects very closely to our citizen peoples. And now we are having a stage to make adaptation law, not with the mitigation side. We are trying to make adaptation law this year and next year. And also, we have to strengthen the science-based and on-demand information also to people to deliver the information that they want to see. And I think most important thing is you should have a backup partners like KEI or I already hold that Mongolia has the same backup partners of adaptation, something like that, because you can get a support and you can get the information about climate change adaptation, and you have to go the long run. So you should, it is better to make a backup partners. So that was my last slide, and this is our KEI members. So I hope you enjoyed my class. Thank you.